Welcome back. All hour long, my guests have been talking about their secret addictions and their paths to sobriety. Now, I want to bring in an expert into the conversation. So many questions still left unanswered. Dr. Lipi Roy is an internal medicine physician who specializes in addiction. Back in 2019 and 2020, she joined the show to talk about addiction, specifically the opioid crisis. Please welcome back to the TAM Fam, Dr. Roy. Thank you for being here again.
Tamron, it's so good to see you. I wish we were there in person together.
I know. I wish, and hopefully very soon. I gotta, based on our last guest, Erica, who talked about her addiction to pornography and addiction to sex, and then the assumptions made about her as a woman. We still know there's so many stereotypes about all kinds of addictions, but I wanted to start with you and ask about the fact that beyond drugs and alcohol, do we talk about other addictions enough?
People are more familiar with substance use disorders. Dave and Gabrielle so bravely, in fact, all three of our guests so bravely shared their stories, and I commend them for their now long-term recovery. People are more familiar with drug and alcohol addiction or substance use disorders, but behavioral disorders or behavioral addictions, I should say, like sex, pornography, work. What about these devices
Yeah.
and gambling? Really, it's still not as well understood. But what we do know is that most people with addiction, regardless of the type of addiction, most people with addiction, once they're connected to the appropriate treatment recovery services, get better. But
Mm.
we need to reduce the shame and the stigma, Tamron, first.
Is there a common thread between all addictions?
I'm so glad you asked that. So the way that we define addiction, and there's decades of research to show that addiction is a chronic, relapsing, and remitting disease of the brain that causes compulsive use or behaviors that cause harm to the person using or behaving in those ways and harm to those around them. It is not a sign of moral weakness or failure. And again, as I said before, treatments and services are available, and most people, once connected to treatment recovery, do get better. But the problem, and you cited a bit of this earlier, of the 21, 23 million people in the United States with a substance use disorder, only 10% access treatment. And we
Wow.
need to absolutely change that, Tamron.